Guys, I think I fell in love with a controller. So for most PC gaming, I've been using this Xbox wired controller that's third party. I was playing Rocket League when the left stick stopped really working, and then later I plugged it in again and it turned out it was temporary. I feel dumb. Anyway, I went ahead and went online and got this controller. And I think I'm in love with this thing. I just want to... So this controller is advertised for Nintendo Switch, but it works perfectly well with pretty much anything that works with an Xbox controller. So Windows, Android, everything where you would want to use a gamepad. It comes with the controller itself, the instruction manual, and the charging cable that works with USB-C. I also got this keychain in the box, my reseller bundled it in, so if anyone knows what this logo is, could you please put it in the comment section? Thank you very much. So you might notice that this controller has two D-pads. They actually replace the analog sticks, so you can play games that require the analog sticks with nothing but two D-pads, which predictably wouldn't work well with FPSs or like any other game where you would have to employ surgical precision. I don't play FPSs anyway, so I don't really care. One thing I really love about this controller is how clicky and tactile the buttons are. They feel like Nintendo Switch Joy-Con buttons, or 3DS buttons, or Xbox One D-pad buttons, if you're not a Nintendo person. And I love it, I just want to just click these buttons all day. The only thing is that the shoulder buttons are arranged horizontally. It's sort of like the Wii Classic controller. The way I deal with it is I put my index fingers like a curl around the controllers and press the L and R2 buttons with the tip and L and R1 buttons with the body. You might notice that there's no D-pad where the D-pad usually is, and I don't think that's a problem. A lot of people in the comment section will bully me for this, but I really love the discrete non-D-pad D-pad. It might be like 4 buttons, but it cradles the thumb just fine, and like it's more precise because the buttons are separate and you pretty much know what you're doing, and you can like tilt your thumb around just like if you were on a D-pad. Anyway, there's actually an undocumented feature that I've seen in a Japanese review, which is hold the left direction button and the minus button at the same time for 3 seconds. And now the inputs are switched, which you can see in this beautiful thing. I'm giving the D-pad controls, but I'm pressing the actual D-pad. On the contrary, when I use these buttons, it registers as the left stick. To turn it back to normal, just press minus and D-pad left again. Yep, it's back to normal. Cool. And because this controller has D-pads acting as analog sticks, you can also press down the analog stick like this. Like this? Yeah. There it is. The problem with this action is that instead of having like a separate button in the middle, you have to press all 4 directions of the D-pad at once, which requires a lot of pressure, and it's near impossible to execute it cleanly without tilting the sticks at full tilt in some direction. You can see like flashes of directional input. And the problem is, when you switch the D-pad and the control stick, you can't even press down the left stick in the same way, even though the hardware for the buttons should be able to emulate the same thing. Like, wait, what the hell? You press down the left stick. What? Oh my god, when you press down all the directions on the D-pad, it triggers a left stick press even though I'm not even touching the left stick. And when I press all 4 directions on the left stick, it just doesn't do anything. Wow. I hope 8BitDo releases a firmware update for this thing so that pressing down the left stick works in this mode. Anyway, back to the build quality of this thing. It feels pretty good. The surface finish is nice and matte. Reminds me of the Nintendo Switch Lite. And because it's matte, I don't have to worry about fingerprints. There's no screws in the back, so if you want to disassemble this thing, you're out of luck. You probably won't need to anyway. What is happening to our right to repair? Okay, so I forgot to mention what features this thing does not have. It doesn't have vibration or motion controls of any kind. There's no NFC reader, so you can't just put your amiibos on here. Not that I would need amiibos for anything. And if you're buying this to replace your Xbox One controller, just be warned that the left and right triggers are digital instead of analog, so you can't just like half press it. You just really need to know the limitations of this thing before you can appreciate what it does have. Anyway, let's test out some games. While the game is loading, let's talk about the size. A lot of English language reviewers said that the 8-bit Do Lite is way too small to sit comfortably in their hands, but my hands are small and I'm Japanese, so I don't have a problem with it. I feel like it's just the right size. Anyway, there's Puyo Puyo Tetris. That's gonna be an easy one. Damn you, Xbox button layout! Watch me casually flex. First, let's do it with the D-pad. Nice and responsive. It feels nice. The buttons have like a really good response. It feels like I'm pressing buttons instead of squishing a membrane. This feels great. I don't have any words. This is really good at putting me in a flow state. Remember kids, just because I'm quick at stacking doesn't mean I'm good at this game. Alright, let's do this round with the separate buttons. Okay, so not a good start, but I'm not going to blame the controller for this. That is beautiful. It works perfectly. I feel like the position of the D-pad makes me prefer using the D-pad in this game. But it works perfectly fine with these buttons because the game decides to support both the left stick and the D-pad. Alright, that's enough for Puyo Puyo Tetris. Let's move on to Sonic Mania. Full disclosure, I did not grow up with Sonic. I was more of a Mario kid. So I'll do my best, but I'm going to suck at this game. Oh my god. That's an obstacle? So Sonic Mania... God damn it. Sonic Mania has a low bar of entry because... God f***ing... F***ing Sonic water levels. Sonic controllers have like a low bar of entry because you only need one button and like a decent D-pad, I guess. And let me tell you how... God f***ing... Let me tell you how decent this D-pad is. It's really good. It's responsive and clicky and not at all mushy like other D-pads are. And it's super comfortable, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And it's not like it's not unplayable at all without the D-pad. God f***ing... Where the hell can I get air? Come on! What the hell is that hitbox? Anyway, for those who don't know 8-bit Do, they've been making a killing out of retro game controllers. This one is not... God damn it. And this one isn't any different. It has a great D-pad, it has awesome buttons, and it feels really good to play retro games on. I mean, I suck at this game, but this controller doesn't make me suck even more. In fact, I feel like this controller is making this game tolerable. Rocket League! I tried Rocket League online, and it works a lot better than you'd expect. The only problem is this is one of those games that use both the ZL, ZR, and LR buttons, so I've had to improvise and adapt to the way I grip this controller. How was I meant to stop that exactly? Rocket League kind of works because you don't really need like, analog triggers or analog sticks to really move in an effective manner. You don't really need like fine-tuned control of the steering wheel in order to be pretty decent in Rocket League. I mean, not that I'm any good at Rocket League. I don't really think you expected Rocket League to work with this controller, but it kind of does. Oh no, we're wide open. Like, I wouldn't recommend this controller if you wanted to be a pro Rocket League player, but
hey, we need a beat.
It works just fine. Woo! The problem is the way I grip this controller, my pinky starts hurting a bit. I have to like switch the way I grip sometimes because ZR is pretty much always pressed. Unless I reverse like that. How do you keep making those goals? So I fired, and I missed again. Yeah, f*** you! Another one? So yeah, it works perfectly well with Rocket League, even though I f***ing suck. And I just love how this controller feels. Like, I want to keep using it. And it has some practical uses as well. This is Bluetooth connected, so I can play You Don't Know Jack while I'm cooking dinner.
What would be an appropriate funny caption for what's going on in Michelangelo's The Creation of Adam? In Michelangelo's The Creation of Adam, God has his finger outstretched toward Adam, not to pull it, but presumably to give him life.
Works perfectly.
And bam! Pastor Nelson.
So yeah, overall, I do recommend this controller for people who don't really care about analog sticks and just like clicky buttons. And I recommend this also because it's really portable. It might also be because I wear girl pants, but my phone doesn't even really fit in my back pocket. While this controller actually does, well, almost, but let's count that. And if you wanted to put a normal controller in your back pocket, forget about it. I mean, you could, but why would you? And this thing usually costs like half of what a normal game controller does these days. And I couldn't be happier about it. I rate this controller a solid 4 out of 5. Like, it's not perfect. Sometimes it gets hard to grip. It works just fine unless it's like a racing game where you would have to hold down a shoulder button for like the entire length of the game. And I hope if you also like clicky buttons like I do, you'll get your hands on this one. Alright, see you!